Greetings. Today's topic is what's my divine purpose? And I'll make this as simple and compact as I can as I went through phases and phases upon self-reflecting retreats and contemplation for my entire life. This is the study. What is contemplation? It is the mixture between meditation and concentration. Sitting there and consciously looking and reviewing self with everything there is. You find many things, and when it gets quiet, you find even more things, and sometimes it is wise to observe. So people say The Secret doesn't work for them. What Will Smith tells them of how to be successful doesn't work for them. For example, he said, you'll be surprised to realize how many people are not willing to do what it takes to be successful. That is correct. Somebody else said, pardon my French, screw law of attraction. That is not correct. Everything is magnetic. You have iron in your blood. You have an influence on the system. So, well, what you put your focus to will become magnetic. So, thoughts are electric. Okay? Emotions are magnetic. If a thought is repeated long enough, it becomes an emotion, or it pairs with an emotion. And if you have an emotion, like an emotional reaction to a thing in your head, it becomes a magnet, something like a super magnet. What does that mean? In short, you can train singing lessons like Bob Marley and you're not successful. You can go to castings, work your butt off, work even more than Will Smith, train and have a work ethic that will beat everybody. You can work out like Bruce Lee, but yet you are not Bruce Lee, you're not Will Smith, you're not Bob Marley. You can train shooting hoops like Michael Jordan, but yet you are not Michael Jordan, and you won't be as successful. Question is why? The why is, what is your divine purpose? The commercial aspect is you can do anything, you're unlimited, you can do what you want to do. You cannot do what you want to do. You can only do what you are divinely put here to do. That's why you're doing it. Anything else you won't do. That's why Will Smith is not doing backflips or breakdancing, on top of Mount Everest on a steel wire between rocks. It's not his purpose. So let me explain to you what purpose means. I will create another video where I will break down your epigenetics and your genetic setting in your codons. You have a coded setting for what actually comes with ease. So let me explain to you how I find my purpose. I learned technical engineering, electrical engineering, software, hardware, and construction. You know how the wires, so you put that, and the plugs, and the system, and how electricity runs in the house. Not because of electricity and the physics of electrons. I studied very, very hard to find out why did I learn jobs that require assembly. Then I looked at graphics, like I have a major in Photoshop, 20 years graphic design. Why? electricity, sound engineering, hip-hop, poetry. Why all of these things? What is the major deal that makes that, or made that work for me and made me good in that department? The following reason. That came easy to me because my divine purpose was to look at life's assembly. And I'm very good with profiling, reading, assembly, looking at what works and what doesn't work. So here is the conclusion to the storyline why people are so baffled. What's my purpose? How do I find my divine purpose? Yes, it requires divination. Those that are, you can say, lost, no disrespect, that don't know the direction, you look at the cards. What you do is, when you look at the random coincidence happening to you and offerings coming to you, you got to follow a pattern. Pattern meaning, if that pattern leads you there, then that's what you follow. That's called higher self and following your intuition. Now, let's say there's a guy who wants to be on Wall Street, a broker, and does all the 4 steps that I mentioned in my other video: the inspiration, the planning, the action step, and the successful outcome. And he has all the money, big ass apartment, I don't know, pays $20,000 a month to live in a high-rise building, has everything, has all the girls he ever wanted, or the main girl you ever wanted, whatever the choice or preference is, has access to anything in the material he ever wants, but he feels empty. He doesn't feel fulfilled. He's not genuinely happy, and he's not vitally there. Mojo, libido, so, because he's not in his divine purpose. And one day he takes time out, been a workaholic, busting his ass, and has everything. Mind you, everything is there, but it's not working. Even though the money and everything, all of that formula is working, but the soul is not there. What's the divine purpose? He goes out into the land, and he meets this beekeeper, and he shows him how he creates these colonies and these beehives, and how the overproduce creates honey. And he's selling the honey. The bees love the guy, and it's just, the colonies are filled and they're buzzing around that guy. And this dude from Wall Street, New York, is amazed. How does that work? He buys a little property and creates his first beehive, and is successful with these. Creates another one, has colonies. All of a sudden he thinks, let me make some honey for my friends. All of a sudden it blows up. It gets crazy. Organic honey. All of a sudden he has to create a logo. His partner or partners or friends help him, and it all of a sudden it begins to generate more money than he had ever made. That's the divine purpose calling. He quits his job at Wall Street. Everybody thinks like, okay, homeboy, you eat on mushrooms or you're on drugs, you lost your shit. But others say, well, if it makes you money, good. The deeper ones say, well, if it gives you revenue and it makes you happy, even better. And that's your calling. Could be I've seen people want to propagate spiritual items, and this is like the shadow side of when the formula doesn't work. And the person is a spiritual person, but had a downfall with that, kind of lost belief, now criticizes everything and anybody that wants to actually accomplish something in the world. Sits there and criticizes and bitches and bickers about the world, propagates his own product, doesn't sell, nobody likes him, gets into debate, is always upsetting people. Not in a bad way, triggering people, but like deliberately creating upset where upset is not necessary. And the network is this small, the video views are 76, nobody's really interested, nobody really validates and helps the guy. And he's pissed, and one day He goes to the store, buys an orchid, and looks at the orchid, watches the tutorial on how orchids, grow and what environment is needed, and he starts building a greenhouse in his backyard. And he gets into gardenias, plumerias, and all of these plants. He decides to erase his critical videos and whatever he did, and is all of a sudden kind of like obsessed with finding all of these plants and the smells and even maybe essential oils, who knows. And he has this little botanical garden in his backyard, and is successful. It's working. And he makes a video, and I compare that, about gardenias and a tutorial how to plant them, how to take care, maybe play music, how to feel the plants. All of a sudden his video has 20,000 views. Magic. He found his purpose. That's why many are lost. You're not listening to what works for you. You want to resist and you want to fight what doesn't work. And I say, give up. Let it go. If you're pursuing things and you're not successful in them, that's a sign of they're not your path. It's not your direction. It's not where you're supposed to be. And all the names in the world and all the hoopla you want to create about anything doesn't lead to anywhere. I've seen people trying to sell spiritual items and it didn't work. Propagating that they're so in control and sovereign and independent in their own existence, and their network is 70 views a video. Your store doesn't flourish. All of a sudden Granny has this idea of, how about making monoatomic marmalade? I'm giving you hints here. These are gems that I'm dropping. Little open worlds. And all of a sudden you sit down with Grandma, you order natural brown sugar, you get I know ingredients, I know how to make it actually. You get tapioca to get the jello going for the marmalade, and then you create vitalized, photonically enhanced monoatomic marmalade, which no store in the world sells. I'm giving you ideas here, people. Now listen. And you open your Etsy store, and in the first week you made $800 just selling marmalade. Lemon, strawberry, raspberry, and people find you. The taste, the aroma is explosive. You're using extra filtered and structured water, and you have produce, there's taste, there's experience. People go like, oh my God, you have to try this monoatomic marmalade, monoatomic jam. And in the next 6 months you make $15,000. And the other page that you had with all your critical stuff made you, like with all the criticizing that you were doing, made you zero money. You have under 300 views, putting 10 videos together. You keep rearranging and trying to find topics. Nothing is successful, but over here you're selling marmalade and you're being successful. So, to the wise one, what would your choice be? Selling marmalade. So how do I know what's my divine purpose? Find within you, first off, not what upsets you about the world. Because it's interestingly that unsuccessful people are the ones that bicker and bitch and attack, others that are climbing. And successful people are not really in the field pointing out who's who, this and this and this and this and this. We're here to enrich each other. So if I can inspire you to find your path, then you're on your way. And guess what? Those who follow their purpose are blameless. I Ching. I studied the I Ching for over 20 years. The baker is blameless. The kid that sleeps is blameless. Those who pursue the highest truth within themselves, finding their purpose, are blameless. Even though if there are people around that want to attack or say stuff or bring stuff up, they can actually not touch that. If your seeds that you have planted, and let's say these are sunflower seeds and they grow exponentially, 12 feet high, well, that is the truth that will refuse to go away. and you're being successful, and the bees will come and they'll get the pollen and they will go to the colonies. So helping the bees, side note, if you want to help the bees, plant sunflower and lavender. So they'll come, they keep you blessed, and you get blessings when you work with the planet. So finding your purpose is finding what works naturally. You put that together and you'll be flying. It takes some time, trust me. My purpose kind of bled into assembly and metaphysics, but I didn't quite know which direction this would go. Starting at the age of 12, the storyline begins early in your life. Question is, are you paying attention to how this storyline is actually unfolding? This authorship, this fantastic story of the you. And mine was playing with, I don't know, a command center and a landing platform when I was 9. Having meet and greet and ambassadors and diplomacies between people that came from other worlds to these worlds. And then metaphysics and propagating how can we actually reach this and make this actually physical. And disclosure won't be what you expect it to be with all the politics that we hear. That'll never unfold like everybody else propagates. It'll never unfold that way. It'll unfold by the way of how are you gardening? How are your botanics treated in your greenhouse? That's where contact is. When you're face conjugate with your purpose. And face conjugate meaning being atomically in alignment of what your aura and your purpose is for here, what you need to do. And for that you don't need to sit in an ashram. For that a guru is not required. For that a dependency or codependency is not required. What will emerge from this guaranteed is interdependent, where say, oh look, I got these seeds here, I created them from that and they're actually wonderful. And then you say, well, I have these agricultural devices that you can put in your soil and your stuff will grow even bigger, and you do this, thank you. An exchange that works for both parties. And if the neighbors enrich each other's, all of our gardens will overgrow and overflow, and this is part of the disclosure what we have to learn. There's no other way. Besides the politics on stage. There's people that talk and there's other people that walk the walk. And there's people like me, I walk the walk and I explain my experience and share with you how this comes across. And I'm being successful step by step. Dreaming of what I want to manifest is a fertilizer-free soil that is mineralized so you can actually grow original organic food. So at some point I have a line of farmers waiting, so it's being pre-produced and we're being successful, so we can actually do stuff and bring stuff forth that will do something for you, that you can bring home more apples, more strawberries, more honey, I don't know, whatever you grow. And you do it yourself and you learn how to do it yourself. So follow what your divine purpose is. Do not follow the hype or the trend or jump on what's the hype or what's the trend here, because it'll mislead you, it'll misguide you, and nothing gets accomplished. So if you set up a network and the network doesn't work, then you're not in your purpose. If you're going into the direction where you have resistance and upset and the connectivity is like this, you're not on your path. And this will never change, universal law. But the minute you find something, I saw online a woman, regular job, didn't really work, often on welfare, and then she started make these figures and puppets and elves and whatnot and selling them. She's a millionaire now. Because that's her purpose. So find your craft that is given to you by those who believe in God or the source or whatever, the deity that you idealize. Do not, also my tip, idealize anything or worship anything outside of yourself, because you are here to nurture you to build a better planet. And this is your time, and time is life. So I say, whatever you do in life, don't waste your life. Be in happiness, not in ignorance. and create bliss with the things that you create. And it can be as simple as, I don't know, the little guy who makes little wooden stick figures for kids to play, and all he makes is wooden stick figures and everybody buys it and everybody is happy. Well, that is called purpose. Everything else is nonsense and distractions. That's why you're born with the shadow and with the light. What will be the choice for where you're going? What will be the endeavor to follow a profitable enterprise? The decision and the choice rests with you. You are in control. Create smiles, random acts of kindness, assist and build and exchange with one another. For that you don't need any cryptocurrency or any other exchange where everybody hopes for the great money. Abundance is not in the currency or the latest tech or cryptocurrency that everybody waits for, or a currency reset that for 20 years we're talking about it and it hasn't happened. You wonder why it hasn't happened? You create the currency. What is current is the resources that we have here to create produce, and that is what gets you abundance. It doesn't matter if it's a euro, it's the dollar, it's whatever you want to label it, go with that. Or it's digital or immaterial digits. Resource will still have to be moved. Rocks will still be moved. Sand will be moved. Soil has to be watered. It is up to you how you create the abundance flowing to you like the river, supporting your purpose. And the universe is designed to support purpose. It sustains purpose. Nonsense has no sustainability and it won't last. And you will observe that in the coming years. Everything that's not built on a foundation of integrity and love and really loving what you're doing, be passionate about it, will fall apart. Simple as that. So take that to your heart. Inhale, feel yourself, know that you're here and you are worthy, you're on earth. Utilize the time. There are no better times than these where at the click of a button you can sell and manifest or buy or order. And I started with, I want to make an organic device. I need some wire and I need a quartz crystal. So I ordered a quartz crystal for $5. I went to Ace and for $10 I got copper wire and I started building. But this is how it begins, the action step to put together. Too many are out there in virtual space saying, yeah, one day I'm going to visit, I don't know, Hawaii. Or one day I'm going to go, no. You set goals. I had people that sharing with me for 5 years when they're going to travel where? Never traveling. If you don't do it, nobody will do it for you. So when you say, let's say, I don't know, August 15th, I'm going to Scotland and I'm doing a haunted castle tour, book your tickets, do it. Everything else of, I'm having visions, I'm seeing myself on that island, and maybe in the future, and maybe if spirit tells me, it's nonsense. Because you're giving yourself the permission slip to procrastinate and not do. We need to get out of that, develop ourselves, and when we say we're coming, we're coming. When we say we're making contact, we're making contact, but not before. Hopefully that helped you. Love to you, and respect to all, with respect to all, in respect with all. And I see you on that side where your passion is. Past your fear is everything. And that's called the flip side. Some call it the Twilight Zone. Peace.